Welcome to Getting Home Sourced with G. Your one-stop shop for all things real estate. Gianno is your go-to guy with over 25 years of experience in the game, serving up the insider scoop on buying, selling, and investing in two of the hottest markets, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Cabo, Mexico. Whether you're looking to score the perfect home, seal the deal on a sale, or dive into the world of international investments, G's got the tips, tricks, and swagger to make it happen. Remember, in Nevada, the smart choice is the right choice. And when it comes to Cabo, you better go oceanside with Cabo G. If you were looking for a quiet, tranquil show about real estate, this ain't it. Gianno has this thing called passion. Let's unleash the beast. This is Welcome to Getting Home Sourced. And now your host, Gianno.
Hey, what do you say? Hey, folks, we got a rockin' show here at Getting Home Sources. I'm your host, Gianno, and of course, I always love to start out by saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're listening around the world. Thank you so much, and of course, I have to start out by saying for my newbies, my first-timers, thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time or a couple times, thank you so much for checking us out. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Would love to get all your friends involved and have them listen to our growing community, our family show here that we call it at Getting Home Sourced with G. And of course, the Ferrari, my engine that drives my car, or our car, I should say, right? It's our car. So thank you for my repeat offenders, my loyal listeners, my customers, my familia, and future clients, right? So that's why we're listening, because I know you're going to be calling me soon. You're going to want some property either in Cabo or Las Vegas or anywhere in the U.S. I can always help you out with that too. But the main thing is that thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody. Again, if you're not on the newsletter, please check it out. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please check it out. Would love to grow the family here. Would love to grow the opportunity to have everybody checking out what we're talking about here. So please do that. That would be fantastic. I really appreciate it. But today, we are going to cover the state of real estate. So we're going to be covering both U.S.-based as well as international-based, as I got a lot of information I want to share with everybody for this week. I think it's important to understand what's happening right now. Again, not sure if you're getting this information, but if not, that's okay, because guess what? I break the news, I give it to you live, you get in here first, and that's the way it is, because why? As I always like to say now for the past couple of shows, it's factual, actual, and practical. That is what we are all about. So this way, we're not going to give opinions over here per se. We're just going to give the facts, the data, and then we jump into it. So with the state of real estate, as I like to put a little bit of spin on it, because right now, here in the United States, for instance, we're at a standoff. Okay, so this is kind of what I've been talking about here for a little bit, between the mortgage rates and having them, they're hovering around 6%. I mean, some people say 6.5%. I don't see that. I see that maybe dipping at 5.95, and they go up to like 6.25, 6.35, whatever. But average overall is going to be around 6%. And again, sellers that have properties that they've owned pre-COVID, right after COVID in that area, they're looking at a 2 to 4% interest that they got their homes at. So really, folks, where are they going? Why would they want to sell for unless they're going to do a step up or a step down, or unless there was a motivation to sell, right? We have to find out what that is. But because of that, the inventory has dropped a little bit, because unless it's a great deal for a seller, really, where are they going to go when they have that kind of rate? Now, a lot of people talk about they want to be able to assume the loan, because in some instances, loans are assumable. However, if you assume a loan, and let's say I'm a buyer and I want to buy your property, but I want to assume your loan and you have it at 4%, well, you're still liable for that loan if I default on it, unless you get the bank to clear you out and it falls strictly on me and I'm just picking up where you left off.
Have you consulted your government about the ransom demands?
Chances are that doesn't really happen. I haven't seen it as much because banks don't want to get into that game. But again, you have to check with whoever you're working with as a lender to see if that's even possible when you get a loan, if it can be assumable and passed on, and make sure that you're not involved and you get stuck if I go bad, let's say, using me as an example. But the inventory nationwide in the United States here is limited because with most cities and areas, we have, slowdown. We're having moderate growth price-wise nationally rather than a crash. People think it's going to be crashing here, folks. And I've been saying this before since December. There is no crash coming. I know the pundits out there, all the people that think that they know everything, that they're psychics and what have you, the world's going to burn and, housing market's going to crash and dump over here in the U.S. Folks, we talked about it before. Not going to happen, okay? You're hearing it here. I'm going to keep on repeating it until somebody proves me wrong. And I like to find that person to prove me wrong because guess what? It ain't going to happen. So you're hearing it live. It's not going to have it. The pundits that are out there forecasting this is really bad because you're sending a bad message and you're sending mixed signals to people which most people are confused anyway in the world of what's going on. And now you have to start throwing this junk down people's throats to get them spooked out and scared or whatever. Again, tactics, right? Ulterior motives, right? So we have to be careful for that. But now that in the U.S., the tax season ended April 15th, so moving forward now, buyers, you could see now they're being told, because I said before in past shows, if you're listening, talk to your professionals. You talk to your your accountant, you talk to your attorney, you talk to your financial planner, and you talk to your realtor, because they're going to be the ones to instruct you best and according to your needs and wants, and whether you're buying or selling. And now we see more buyers getting out into the market. Thank goodness, because they're realizing, hey, we can't sit on the sidelines anymore. There are good deals out there, folks. I've been preaching this, and I'll keep on preaching it until I get hit over the head with a stick. Again, new home builders, especially in Nevada, 25% discount off their base price, and they're giving the farm away, and you're getting cheap interest rates with them, right? You can get anywhere from 3.99% up to 5.99%, depending upon what's happening, okay?
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it? Keep yapping, man.
I know a client just recently, we went into Taylor Morrison Homes and locked in 3.99%, 30-year fixed. That's it. There wasn't a step up. It was straight. That's the way it was locked in. And he killed it. It was a great deal. And actually, he did the negotiating. I just sat back. It was going through the paperwork, and he bulldogged them, and he got it done. This is what I'm saying, folks. It's a buyer's market, basically nationwide, especially on the West Coast over here in the United States. East Coast might be a little bit tougher. Florida, New York, New Jersey area, what have you, the Carolinas, what have you. But really, from that Texas going all the way over to California, there's deals to be had, folks. I've been saying this all along. I don't know. But hopefully it's sinking in and it's making sense for you, right? But for right now, again, for my international friends especially, there is no better time to buy in the United States. I mean, seriously, and I'm going to get into showing you why later on when I go through the data and the stats, and even in Mexico, because again, Mexico is a hotbed, especially for my Canadian friends. And if my Canadian friends who are listening out there, you know what I'm talking about, because we know right now what's going up in Canada. I'm going to touch bases on that in a second. But the main thing I want buyers to realize is that it's time to get in and take care of the advantages that the sellers are giving out, which is the concessions. We talked about this before. Concessions, not even really negotiating. It's the concessions are like, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, can you please buy down my rate, my mortgage rate? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, can you please pay for my closing costs? Can you please pay for my cost of repairs? And maybe I'm going to get a discount on the price as well. 4 ways to where the seller is going to concede and give those concessions because they want to get the property sold. Why? Because I can tell you right now in Las Vegas with the inventory over 10,000 properties, what does that mean, folks? That's like a 5.5 month inventory. Buyers are picky. They're going to go out and get the best properties with what they want, okay? Luxury market, a little bit different because, again, even though there's luxury, abundance of luxury inventory, but again, people are specific and picky. They're going to pick and choose their battles, and so the sellers. So that might be a little bit of negotiating. But on the affordability side, you are going to get the deal, especially with the builders. I mean, if the builders are doing 25% off of their base, folks, new home build, what does that tell you? The writing's on the wall, right? And we're going to get into that as well. But I think the main thing right now I want to go over is how the U.S. housing market, how that's relating to people, especially my international friends. And again, for you, all those in Canada that are listening, okay, I've done some research. I saw the last couple of days, and I'm seeing what's going on up there because now the Bank of Canada rolled out their principal person up there. She stated that they're going to keep the rates unchanged. They're not doing anything. But what they are wanting and needing is the housing prices to fall even further, more so that they have anticipated already. So now you have to ask yourself, why would you want the housing market technically to crash up there to do a reset? Is that really the answer, folks? I mean, think about it. If I'm a seller and I thought I had appreciation and now the market's crashing, well, maybe not only will I lose all my equity, could I possibly be upside down? So how is that affordable for me when now in Canada, I might be looking at a short sale because now I don't have enough money to come to the table and close. What do I do? So I'm not sure if the Bank of Canada, what their anticipation is or what they're thinking about. But as a seller, I'd be very, very concerned that all of my equity and my profit margin is going to get evaporated because they want the market to fall and do a reset button. And then what happens up there in Canada? All the prices are flat, so you're really never going to make any money up there. And if so, you're lucky if you're going to make 5 or 10%. So what's the affordability when now, as a seller, I'm upside down up there? So again, for my Canadian friends, this is why a lot of my Canadian friends are reaching out. They're purchasing in Cabo San Lucas. They're purchasing in the United States. They're coming over the border. They're picking small area towns where they can get great pricing, great housing, make them rentals, hold on to them. They're in Vegas as well. Last I counted, as of last week, we had 335 basically Canadian or entity. I'm going to combine it for individual and Canadian corporations that own property in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is great. I think that's fantastic to have 335 corporate entities, as we talk about. So this is what I'm trying to say, folks. This is why it's important to really see beyond the borders, okay? You have to see what's going on in your local markets and realize, well, maybe I have to venture outwards to have money, to make income, to have profitability. Why do I want to be in a stagnant, flat market? I'm not going to go anywhere. And then what's the point of having home ownership as an investment when I'm not making any money? So just keep that in mind, my Canadian friends. I understand it's getting a little bit tough up there. I know things are tighter, more so in Canada than in the U.S., but this is why I get excited about the affordability rate and the investment opportunity for my Canadian friends to come over the border, come south. If you're still bitter about America and what's going on down here, I totally understand and respect that. Hey, Mexico's open as well. A lot of people in Cabo now, right now. And again, a lot of Canadians, as I said last week, Canadians, number two tourist factor of people coming down outside of Americans and in the peninsula. So this is what's happening right now.
The service to the taxpayer and to the public being the very best value for money.
And I don't like to see Canadian investors getting duped, thinking that, well, they're going to come down to America, they're going to get a bad deal, or same thing in Mexico. Not the case, not true. Because I talked about the strategies, I talked about asset protection, I talked about how to set up corporate entities to protect the foreign investor. We talked about that before. So please listen to that again if you have to. It really resonates and makes sense for everybody. So again, both countries, great to invest in. You can make money outside of Canada and you can still live in Canada, which is the best of both worlds. And I think people are starting to realize that now and knowing that, hey, I can still be wherever I'm living in Canada, come over the border, invest, and you're good to go, right? So because of their economic climate, this is what's happening right now. So I'm paying attention to what's going on north of the border, but I also want my north of the border friends to pay attention to what's going on down not only in America, but also in Mexico, specifically Cabo, because that is the hotbed right now, hot international destination area. And that's where a lot of people are setting up shop. Because I know when I lived in Phoenix at one point, when I was selling real estate down there, and still do, but not so much. But we had the snowbirds that we call snowbirds, were people from Canada that came down during the winter season, 6-7 months out of the year. They were in Phoenix. That was the hotbed. Not so much anymore, folks. I mean, now they're kind of realizing that, hey, Cabo's a better opportunity, or even mainland Rocky Point, Sonora, Monterrey, wherever mainland Mexico, wherever you feel comfortable in going, Puerto Vallarta, Guadalajara, it's all there for you, folks. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But like I said, we have a lot to cover. So let's take a quick commercial break. When I get back, I want to cover what the key factors are in 2026 here in the U.S. and internationally. And I'll be right back.
Are you thinking about investing in Mexico? Not sure how to get started? Well, with Cabo G, he has all the steps in place to get you that vacation property you have been always dreaming about. Call Cabo G today on his new international toll-free number, 888-528-2810. Yes, toll-free. What other realtor do you know that has a toll-free number to call him anywhere in the world? Let your journey to real estate ownership in Mexico start now by going oceanside with Cabo G.
Hey, what do you say? What do you say? Thank you so much for sticking around the back half of Getting Home Sources. I'm your host, Gianno. And like I said, folks, if you have to get a hold of me, I didn't mention it before earlier in the show because why? I like to save it for the middle and the end. You contact me, 888-528-2810. That's my toll-free G hotline. And then you have for my domestic friends, 702 instead of the 888, same number. Again, Gianno at VegasHomeSource.com. You have my MLS for Cabo and for Vegas for you for free, folks. It's there for you on the website, VegasHomeSource.com. And I'm also proud to announce, too, like I talked about before, my Concierge Partnership Program. We deal with everybody, folks, international and domestic, okay? We have for Vegas. I deal with both buyers, sellers, other realtors. We deal with home builders. We're bringing the community together, helping everybody out that need help pushing and advertising their new home builds or resale builds, any type of investments. I want to put it out there and help the people and grow that relationship network. Also in Cabo, I have my connections. If you love massages on the beach, folks, the happy ending is that you get to hear the ocean waves and you wake up getting crippled and you feel like $1 million. Believe me, I know. I was down there. I experience it all the time. Medino Massage, you contact me. I get you hooked up down there. And of course, Cadoon Hotel. So my friends at Cadoon, thank you so much for the relationship and the partnership right across the street from the Pioneer Plaza where the Medino Hotel is at. And I'm right downstairs, my office, Oceanside Real Estate Group. And I get my people set up over there at Cadoon. So you reach out to me for that and we can get you squared away. So with that being said, folks, all the tools are there. I'm very happy and proud to bring that to you and share it with you. And of course, the big reveals as I keep going down the road here the next couple of weeks, going into the end of May, going into June. Big news coming up. So that you have to stay tuned for. Can't really, I have to tease it a little bit. Can't release it. I'm just teasing it. But trust me when I tell you, when it comes true, it's no more teasing. It's the real deal. So, but now, in getting back to what I want to talk about, the key factors that are affecting the U.S. real estate market. Okay, so the first thing we have is mortgage rates and just the regular rates, right? The 30-year fix, as we call them, because now we talked about before earlier in the year, President Trump wanted to do a 50-year mortgage rate. I said, folks, bad news. Do not go with the 50-year. Absolutely. I understand what they're trying to do. They stretch it out, make the payments lower, but in the end, you're going to get buried in the long run, upside down. Please, don't do the 50-year. I get it. It's a tool. It's there to give options and advice and to help people, but you stick with the 30-year. And even if you could do a 15-year, you pay it off. But the trick really is you get the 30-year, make the double payments, and you pay it off in half the time. That's what a lot of people do. That's what I suggest that you do if you have to have that opportunity. But the thing is that in most cities right now, sellers have enough equity to where they cover the closing costs. So this is what I'm talking about, folks, because with appreciation happening across the country, especially here in Las Vegas, sellers and or new home builders are giving what? concessions, discounts, what have you, to help the buyer get in to make the deal work. So you want to keep that in mind. Number 2, inventory. Now, although in most cities they're seeing a shortage in some areas, really it's not a shortage per se for the inventory. It's a shortage for families that need government assisted housing. That's the key. That's where the affordability comes into play, which, by the way, some U.S. states right now are working on to build out. They're getting land. They're allocating, let's say, 10 acres or 20 acres, and they're building developments here to cater for the government assisted and government funded projects for people. So that's really what you have to keep an eye on, is that's really where the shortage is coming from. And
the government needs to show leadership.
They need the government assisted housing, and that's what they're working on, because again, right now with existing sellers, they're holding on to the mortgages, they're holding on to that 4% or lower. So really there is no reason for them to sell unless what? They have a family matter, they have a situation, maybe somebody passed away, could be a divorce, something along those lines that, cater to a personal matter, or they want to just basically have enough equity to where they want to step down or step up, and then when they sell the property, they could pay cash on their next investment. So this way they don't have to take out a mortgage because they don't want to be paying another 2% higher than what they were used to paying. So it's better to pay all cash, right? Number 3, builder sentiment. Okay, so here in Las Vegas, for an example, builders are rolling out the red carpet, folks. I mean, again, you see what's going on email, you see what's going on with social media. They're blasting it all throughout the country, doing Google ads, they're doing Meta ads. They want the consumer to go work with them. They're going to give them the farm. But the thing that I don't like, which I smacked them on the wrist for, and I kind of bashed them a little bit on, I'm going to be honest, okay, because like I told you, it's street talk, it's real talk, it's straight talk. I was not happy that the fact that they're going to do a runaround on me or my realtor counterparts by basically telling you, the consumer, hey, you don't need a realtor. We cut them out of the way and we're going to give you a deal. So just deal directly with us and don't deal with the realtor. But then you're begging a realtor and you're crying to them to send you clients. So really, what message are you sending? Well, I know what message that you're sending because this is something that they normally do. And then I have to put them in check and basically say, okay, builders, let's be straight. Don't try to screw the consumer over by thinking that by them walking into your sales office that you're going to give them a great deal and they have no representation because they don't know what kind of deal they're getting, because the realtor like myself knows what kind of deal that you can get and then some. But folks, if you're a consumer and you walk into a new home built by yourself, I can tell you right now, you're probably getting 75% of the deal that you should be getting if you're not with the realtor. I'm sorry to say that, and I know a lot of buyers out there that just trying to walk up into new home developments and thinking that, okay, if I don't have a realtor, I can get a better deal. I'm telling you right now, that's not the case, but I see people doing it. I know of people that are doing it. If you feel comfortable that way and you don't want to deal with anybody except the builder, remember, folks, they don't have your best interest, because at the end of the day, the sales agent's working for who? The builder, not for you. They just want you to come in. You're going to sign contracts that they write up, and who's going to review it for you? Okay. You're going to get an attorney to do it. Okay. Well, does an attorney have their best interest for you? I don't know. But here in Las Vegas, me as a realtor, I'm the attorney. In fact, we're the ones that write up contracts. We review contracts. We go through the contracts with the client, and we also negotiate on behalf of the client. So, and again, you're not paying us unless for some strange reason the builder decided that they want to turn off the water faucet of commissions and they don't want to pay. Okay, that's a different story. But at the end of the day, the builder sentiment right now is that they're slowing down. They're not pulling permits as much as they used to. They want to try to sell off what they have right now and then move forward from there. So just keep in mind that if they're slowing down on the permit, they have the land, okay? It's basically what I call land banking. A lot of these builders have bought land years ago. They sit on it. They bank it. So this way, what happens is that, let's say they have ABC entity that's going to come in. They take it off their books. They'll buy it for them, hold on to it. And then when the time comes, they'll turn around and come back and buy it maybe 10% above what they paid for it, just to hold it for them. So that's a term, land banking. A lot of builders do that. They want to get it off the books to make the shareholders happy. And then again, turn around and buy it back and then go ahead and start building. So, but believe me, there's a lot of builders that already hold land here. They're just holding off on pulling permits to continue new construction in a new development unless they see they have some type of quote unquote interest list, right? So, but again, builders are gambling here in Las Vegas, no pun intended, of people relocating from outside the state, right? I mean, California, Oregon, Washington State, Illinois, New York, even Texas, folks. A lot of these people, they come to Nevada because, again, the no state tax and the benefits that we offer over here, right? Both for corporate entity protection as well as property tax, suppression. So it's cheap. But for them, the price points here are cheap compared to where they live. That's why builders are hoping more and more relocation people come over here. But unfortunately, it's getting priced out a little bit for the locals. And that's the concern that a lot of people have because, again, builders are trying to make their bottom line. I get it. But if you're going to be giving away the farm, you have to make it up from somewhere else. So how do you do that? You hope that you get cash buyers that are coming in from out of state, which most people are. I would say a third of the buyers right now are cash buyers that are coming in and are owner occupying, especially for new homes. So that takes care of the builder sentiment over there. Now, number 4 is the financial institution shift. So again, we talked about this before about the big box companies that are going in here and absorbing all this inventory behind the scenes. They're going through Zillow. They're going through Realtor.com. They're going through these portals and platforms and even banks, folks, okay? A lot of people right now, I call them the crime family, Wells Fargo, B of A, Citibank, US Bank, Bank of America. They're all having their clients come in saying, please, 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 can you help me out? Can you do a loan modification? Can you refinance me? Can you do a forbearance? Anything to save me from being in the home. There's an uptick that's taking place, okay? So, and what are the banks doing? They're selling off the loans to the hedge funds, to big companies that are going to come in, investment companies, large investor groups, and they take over those notes. They service the notes, and some of them are either going to keep them or some of them are going to either say, hey, I'm sorry, you're going to have to leave, and we're going to turn around and flip the home. And that's where you get a lot of flippers coming into play. You see a lot of people on TV, radio. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'll cash you out because I really don't care about you. I just care about making my money, and I got to make like my 10, 15%. But since I'm doing you such a great deal by giving you money within a week or 2 weeks, we don't have to deal with the realtor. Folks, most of these people are realtors anyway. They act like they're not realtors. They go on TV saying they'll buy your home, but they're working with the realtor, but yet they say no realtors are involved. Of course realtors are involved. How do you think the deals are going to get written up? Again, diversion, distraction. Okay, we're pivoting off the wrong. We're giving misinformation, and we're not being truthful. Makes me very upset, but this is how it works. This is why I share this with you, because I want you to watch out for the landmines. And we talked about this on other shows. That's why my show every week, folks, it's a method to the madness. It all ties in. It's like a chain link fence. It all gets connected. It's all tied in, and it runs for miles. This is what the show is about. This is why I share this with you, because the nonsense has got to stop in that capacity. It's out there. It's happening. I'm just making you be aware of it. So this way, you can't say that nobody ever told you so. I'm telling you so, okay? So now we go to number 5. Now we have commercial real estate. So usually, folks, in the U.S., commercial real estate's ahead of residential. So whatever's happening in commercial right now, about 6 to 8 months down the road, you're going to see that shift in commercial. So in this situation right now with commercial, the data center sector, specifically for AI development needs what? They need the data centers, okay? So this is heavily favored right now over what? Office, multifamily, and retail, because those sectors are facing the heavy financial burdens and the refinancing that they have to go through. And again, we talked about this the last couple of years. A lot of the commercial servicing companies, it's the lend and pretend. They know that these people are stuck, but they keep giving out money because they're hoping for a rainy day, and it becomes a duck, duck, goose. Whoever gets stuck with the property is the one that they're going to have to deal with. And we don't like playing the duck, duck, goose game because you never know what's going to happen with that. But I'm going to keep a close eye and watch and what's happening, what develops with the commercial sector, because that's going to really indicate and also show us what's going to happen in residential 6 to 8 months down the road. So this is the reason why it's important to pay attention to commercial investments to see what's happening, who's losing what, why they're losing it, how long have they been in trouble for that they're going to be losing it anyway. This is an indicator of how that rolls over into residential. And lastly is the foreign investments. Again, United States remains the top global destination for foreign direct investments, which they basically name it as they call it FDI. Okay, so foreign direct investment. And that is attracting 25% of all global totals, which is pretty interesting if you think about it. 25% of the world, and they're coming into the U.S. Again, something to think about. And why is that happening? And I'm going to be talking more about that when we go later on into the show. But the key trends, though, even though we have tariffs going back and forth with most countries, or basically everybody at this point, who knows? I can't even keep track anymore. But countries that are involved with the AI technology, and more so the rising protection, or they say rising protectionism, okay? So from the tariffs affecting what? Manufacturing, okay? And also the continued supply chain, the restructuring, which they call friendshoring, okay? So these are things that you're going to start seeing a lot of or hearing a lot about, especially in the U.S. And so again, this is what we have to look forward to coming down into the summer months, going into the fall, winter, end of the year. A lot more stuff is getting rolled out, folks. You have no idea. But again, 2026, I talked about this before, is the year reveal. We're going to see what's going to happen. And also, too, folks, come in June, end of May, beginning of June, the Fed chairman is out here, Jerome Powell. They're going to bring somebody else in. And let's see if they're going to put the pedal to the metal, drive rates down. And then people think, oh, if the rates go down, then the mortgage rates go down. We talked about that before, how that becomes confusing. And one doesn't really necessarily mean the other is going to happen. We talked about that before. We're going to also talk about that, too, when the time comes when the United States appoints a new Fed chairman that handles the reserve, that handles how the interest rates are going to be handled. But now I want to talk about another reveal, which is, I'm not sure if people know this or not, but the top 7 countries that are investing in the United States, because now they came out with some data. I just happened to get my hands on it, and I wanted to share this with you. So the first thing we're going to start out with is the UAE. So my friend, United Arab Emirates, love you guys. Okay, 1.4 trillion US dollars, okay, USD. So what they're doing, decades long-term investment, going to be decades, okay? But what they're focusing on is building AI centers, specifically in states like Ohio to handle the East Coast and Arizona to handle the West Coast here in the United States. Secondly, Qatar, they're committed to 1.2 trillion US dollars in economic exchanges and energy products. Something to look about. And thank you for Qatar to come in, okay? Japan coming in number 3, 1 trillion US dollars, focusing on manufacturing, innovation, and restructuring. And you're going to see a lot about this, folks, because what was the President Trump talking about here in the United States that we're lacking is what? Manufacturing and engineering, right? So now they're talking about we're going to be bringing in people based upon merit, not based upon anything else but. That's why for my international friends, you start seeing more international money come into the United States, which means countries that are bringing in money, they're going to want to bring in their own people to oversee things, which means they're going to be buying property. They're going to be investing here because if the company's coming over here, they're going to bring in their employees over here as well to invest. That's why I'm saying pay attention to what's going on here in the U.S. market. You are going to get a good deal. And even better is if your company is even paying for you to go buy a home here, cash, even better, because now you're going to even get a better deal. So this is why I keep saying for my international friends is that with all these countries that are pouring money into the country, it's going to benefit you as the employer to come in here and bring your employees, take care of them, and it's going to really work out well for everybody. So now with Japan, we talked about before, manufacturing, innovation, and restructuring. Number 4 is India. 20.5 billion US dollars focusing on greenfield projects in manufacturing, technology, and engineering. Okay. And then to round out the last 3, which I put 5, 6, and 7, is South Korea, Taiwan, and Saudi Arabia. Now, they're each contributing over 450 million US dollars, focusing on US based investments, manufacturing, and energy in states like West Virginia and Wyoming. So, again, people probably asking, wow, this is craziness. What is going on in the United States, and what does this mean? Well, great question, right? Okay, so basically the answer is simple. The United States, basically, Donald Trump, President of the United States, came out and said the U.S. is open for business. He's a business guy, folks. This is what he does with countries. He negotiates with people. He wants America to succeed because he feels if America succeeds, the world succeeds. And so, therefore, a lot of foreign countries are coming in. I mean, Taiwan is doing a major project in Arizona for the microchips. So now they're going to pull away from the island of Taiwan and come into Arizona and start manufacturing microchips, which is basically what is like the essence, it's the embryo of all computer and technology to start out with. So that's exciting stuff. Again, this is what's happening. AI, technology, restructuring, manufacturing, engineering, key components that we've been lacking here in the United States. And now the president of the United States has come out and says, hey, we're open for business. Please bring your money in here. We're going to take care of you. You take care of us. And that's the working relationship that we have. This is what pertains to residential investments in real estate in the U.S. for internationals as much as it is for domestics. This is why, for all my friends, this is the time. That's why I was saying everything's going to be in the backyard right now over here. So why not get involved? These are the benefits, and you're going to likely see all this stuff happening in the forefront down the road. More and more news articles, little clippings of things opening up, things that are getting built, things that are going, creating what? Jobs, okay? Trying to stimulate the economy. That's why, folks, you can't have an economy crash when you have sustainability in foreign countries pouring money into the U.S. to basically sustain what's going on right now, the underbelly of people hurting. But I guess there's a long-term plan. We'll find out and see what that is, soon enough, right? But
they do something. Who's in charge here? The Chinese government or the U.S. military? Whose country is it? Ours or theirs? Whose is it? Let me out. I haven't done.
This is what's going on down the road. So I just want everybody to be aware of this. So again, for my international friends, if this is what you're thinking about right now and getting into U.S. investments, please, 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 you have to give me a call. I can put you in the right places with people, whether you're working with the realtor or not, whatever city that you want to be in or state that you want to be in. This is what I talked about before, corporate protection, right? Again, part of my concierge partnership program in dealing with corporate entity protection, setting up trusts, LLCs, incorporations, any type of corporate situation, and not only so much for Nevada, but it could be for anywhere in the country here in the United States. We can get you set up with Live the Corporate Life, my dear friends, my real good partners, and they are giving so much back to the community right now. This is what I'm talking about, folks. This is why people, as my international friends, I have you protected. You're not going to go in and buy property without having corporate protection, having a corporate veil, let's say, corporate shield, let's say, to protect you when you're buying a property. This is our commitment for you. This is what I was talking about before, right? So this is why you're going to see a lot more uptick with foreigners coming into the U.S. And also they're going to be using that too to go into, like I said, the peninsula, Cabo San Lucas, the Baja California Sur. Also for mainland Mexico, a lot of development down there, manufacturing. A lot of people opening up shops down there too, also for automotive, right? So there's a lot of great things that are happening in Mexico and in the United States that's creating equity, that's creating profit, and it's growth. And this is what people are trying to find out right now, especially my Canadian friends. If you're not seeing or experiencing growth where you are, well, you know the reason why, okay, better than anybody. But at the end of the day, you have great opportunities to come to Cabo. I know some of you are already down there. I've worked with some of you already. I know a lot of you reached out about that. We're in discussions, right? We're going back and forth. But please, folks, reach out. This is what I'm here for. I'm here to help you guys because it's real estate around the world, and that's what's taking place, and that's what's making things grow and be strong, right? So now, again, taking everything into consideration, we talked about the U.S., we talked about Canada, we talked about Mexico. Now I just want to take a lap around the world to kind of give you a feel, if you don't already know, what's happening in other areas. Okay, so now, for instance, Europe. Okay, Europe, as you know, you have high rental costs contributing to a shortage of 10 million units. So that designates the European housing market as very fragile. Okay, in the Middle East, well, they're saying right now that it's robust, there's high growth and high investment. Okay, Southeast Asia, robust growth driven by what? Rapid urbanization and also strong middle class. Okay, and it's also a surge in mixed use development. In Australia, we have rate hikes down there. So what happens? It fragments the country with the dwelling prices that are basically averaging about 9% annually that are increased. Okay, so the rental vacancy rates are at 1.5%. But what does that mean? You push rents higher. Okay, so people can't buy; they want to rent. Now the rents are up because there's no vacancy. I mean, the vacancy, that's great. If you have a 1.5% vacancy rate in your country, wow, that means, of course, rents are going to be skyrocketing and prices are going to go up. And this is what happens over there. And that hits the affordability sector. Okay. Now in India, luxury market strong. But again, rising prices and rates curb the momentum in the affordability sector, which means what? It's a slowdown in that capacity. South Africa, on the other hand, strong growth due to urbanization and significant housing deficit, but booming rental yields between 9 to 15%. So overall, strong. Okay, in Africa, for instance, now you have rapid growth, young population, urbanization, increase in foreign investments. Japan, sharp divergence. You have major cities that are expensive like Tokyo and Osaka, but then you go out in the rural areas, and which was actually shocking to me, is that because of the depopulation, there's so many empty homes right now in the rural areas that they can't sell them. So there's more inventory than there is demand, which means that everything in that area, unfortunately, is going to be very weak. You're going to have weak sales, falling prices, developer defaults, excessive inventory. So that's what's happening. And also the same thing with China, deep slump. They're going on 5 years now. Same thing, falling prices, weak sales, developer defaults, excessive inventory. This is not good in that area. So hopefully they'll get things figured out and then moving forward to kind of building that up. So again, in a nutshell, folks, there you have it. I mean, right there, clear as day. I mean, you could, again, do your own research, but I like to give it out to you there because I'm just giving you the data. I'm giving you the factual stuff that I'm seeing, that I'm hearing, that I'm listening to, that I read every day. And of course, yes, there's more things behind the scenes that are causing all the things that we discussed that are going out there, right? If I did that, it'd be a 3-hour show. So we can't really do so much of a deep dive on that. But we give just enough to let you know what's happening around the world and what the hot buttons are, what the cold buttons are, so we can move accordingly. And again, what's the bright light that's going to happen, what's going to go on, what's going to be coming up for the next couple of months, going into the July, August, September, and then into the end of the year. So for my international friends, if you have a friend, you got a family friend in me, again, I'm going to be here for you. We're making moves over here, and we're going to be giving great opportunities for everybody. So please stay tuned. Please go on, subscribe, like the show, like the page, go onto the website, check out the tools. Everything is there for you to see what's going on. You have my assistant, Ms. G. She's there to answer questions for you. And I really appreciate everybody going out there, taking the time, getting those questions answered. And again, most things that most people are not going to tell you that I'm telling you is that I am not going to harass you and chase you down unless you're reaching out to me and you're ready to want to do something. That's the whole beauty about it. You go on to these other platforms, the minute you put your information in, you're getting harassed. You're going to be getting tons of people calling you. It's just, that's what it is. It's a setup for failure for the consumer, unfortunately, and I have to call it and tell it like it is. But at least you know, all of you that have gone on to my website or have gone on to my MLS or have clicked on and what have you and calling up Miss G, my toll-free number, have you seen anybody other than myself or myself included go out and harass you and chase you down saying, hey, I just saw that you called? And no, you haven't, okay? That's because of privacy, it's dignity, it's respect, okay? I want everybody to feel comfortable when you're ready to come see me talk to me. You're ready to purchase, you're ready to sell, you're ready to invest, whatever you want to do. We're here for you, but it's at your speed, and that's what makes it special. That's why we're a family, okay? We're not going to start pressuring people to do things to make them feel uncomfortable, where unfortunately that's what's going on other platforms, and that's why you have to figure out right now, okay? We have to navigate through all the landmines that are going on right now, okay? And you have to put yourself in a driver's seat. Now's the time to start planning out where do you want to be in, by 2030, by 2031. You have to focus on this now because this time is not going to come again. So for most people, again, when the market balances itself out and it shifts back over to a seller's market, buyers, you're going to kick yourself in the tuchus and you're going to be wondering what happened. Why wasn't I able to get the deal, 3 years later than I could 3 years ago? This is what happens. It's like a stock. You have to catch it while it's hot, while it's a great investment for you. Okay? Again, based upon wants and needs, it's whatever's more important to you. Do you want to buy right now? Do you want to invest right now? Or do you have to invest, or do you have to buy? Whatever it is, totally up to you. But again, at least you have the respect, the privacy, the dignity, and the conveniency of being left alone. Do your homework. When you're ready, you come see me. So on that note, folks, I just want to say thank you again for everybody. I appreciate every single and each and every one of you. You know that I love you guys. Thank you for loving the show, supporting the show. And like I say, everybody, please get everybody out there that that have not listened to the show yet to subscribe, check me out. We want to grow the family. We want to grow the numbers, because the more that we can get the message out to people, the better it is. And down the road, we're going to, have some fun with the show. So on that note, thank you so much. Have a great week. Enjoy. Love you all. God bless. And we'll talk to you next week.
I see you tomorrow. Or maybe I'll see you tonight. I don't know. I'll see you in the morning. Bye.
You have just listened to Getting Home Sourced with your radio host, Gianno Buonaguro. This podcast is a registered trademark and may not be reproduced without the express written consent of VegasHomeSource.com. For additional information about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, call or text Gianno toll-free at 888-528-2810 or visit his website at VegasHomeSource.com. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.